we don't believe the markets go straight up or straight down. Consequently, we're trying to find those inflection points that give us an opportunity to scalp the market. 2 to 3 points looks like a doable number as far as scalping opportunities. Obviously, sometimes there's a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. As far as opportunities and stops are concerned, the 2 or 3 points are stops and profit targets as well. So between all of that, this is how we kind of try to look for those levels and then try to find those levels where we can scalp the market. We do this on an everyday basis, so we're here every day trying to take advantage of the ebbs and flows, and hopefully you can, if you want any of this stuff interests you, please let us know. There is no economic news coming out today, so no fundamental news that'll be affecting the market, as we kind of are opening up here, and you can see how tight the ranges have been. Even yesterday, we had a couple good opportunities yesterday. If you were trading with us, and again, we had them early in the morning yesterday. Sometimes that happens really fast. We had like 3 quick opportunities in the first half hour. Other times we had to wait for a while. So we are always at the mercy of volatility in every market, whatever market you trade. And patience is important, and wait for the opportunities is important for it to present themselves versus going out there and trying to create some trade because you see the numbers are flickering on the screen. Not a good method to try to make a little bit of money. But hey, that's why we're here. So if any of this stuff interests you, if you like trading, this is what we like to do. I love to do. And we do it here on an everyday basis. And we focus more on the morning hours, especially these days when it seems like the afternoon gets really tight and not much is going on. I think we get good ebbs and flows in the morning, good opportunities versus the amount of volatility that's there. The trade in the late afternoon, especially towards the end of the day, becomes a little bit more one-sided. And so it's a little bit tougher to trade. Again, we're looking for ebbs and flows. So back and forth, if we don't get that, because sometimes at the end of the day, you get more traders are in there, focused in on one thing, and it's a little bit different. The trade's different. There's less people there. The volume is different. So there's a slew of different factors that are not the same as the morning hours, but that's okay. Again, if you do 2-3 hours in the morning, again, depending on volatility and volume and how much is going on, sometimes we were here a little later, but lately we haven't been, only because it's been the markets have been, ever since Monday, they've been really kind of quiet, actually. During the day, not much is going on. Yesterday, like I said, we had some good quick opportunities, which was nice. But it takes whatever the situation is. Again, we don't know how it's going to turn out every day, so we come in here and get ready to trade, and then let the chips fall where they may, and then take whatever the market gives us. Very important to think about just taking what the market gives us instead of going out there and doing things that might not work out so well for us. All right. Again, if you have any questions, always put them in the chat box. Glad to answer them. No problem answering questions. I'll repeat the levels this morning. Our pivot this morning is 35.76. And if you look in the chat box area, they're right in there. Thanks a lot there, Mark. There's the levels. If everybody looks at the chat box area, the levels are up. And like I said, this week has been kind of on the quiet side. So, it, again, the levels are good all day. I think we've demonstrated that they seem to be working, and they've been working very well. I think in the afternoon. Definitely don't want to trade late afternoon, but definitely during the afternoon, they seem to have worked very nicely. As I obviously you can always go check on them, but the afternoon trade has been decent, working well. So that's a good thing. No economic reports this morning. Market is a little bit concerned in regards to the, I would say, the COVID situation in the United States. It's definitely on the mind of the market, as the market is very sensitive, obviously, to what the consequences are. We're getting to close to 2,000 people um, uh, death rate in a day. Very, very sobering and scary at the same time, as a lot of the states are, locking down a little bit and restricting people. And again, it's not a good thing for the economy, obviously. It's not a good thing for uh, stocks, and that's what we trade. So you gotta keep that in mind, that that's what is going on here. So, and that's what we look at, and that's what we're focused in on, is how the market reacts and where the market is going to go, as we are bouncing very nicely here off of our 70 area there. So hopefully you were able to get in, and we got a nice little quick rotation off of that level. You thought I wasn't watching, did you? Yeah, I know. I know. So again, it was down there. We went down to 70. We had a buying opportunity. It's a support level, and we get a nice little quick rotation off of it. I know you thought I was just talking, just like Brad, and not trading. I know what you were thinking. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to jinx it. Sometimes I jinx it when I say, "Oh, here we go. They're coming down to our level," and then it just backs off and scare everybody away. Just scare the market away, scare everybody away. All right, Robert, you're out of here. Nice. Robert making his 2 points and saying adios. 2 points a day help keeps somebody away. You have to look at some of the overnight trade to help you with the levels again. But I mean, that there's some parts to look at, some parts you don't. Um, but it's obviously a consideration. Do I have Monday's numbers? Man, you are very demanding there, Don. Do I have Monday's numbers? Yeah, I do. Let's see. Monday's numbers. Okay. This is for Don, not for, this is Monday's numbers. And Monday's the 16th, if I'm not mistaken. Just, yeah. So this is, Don wasn't here on Monday. He's one of our, fills in for me sometimes when I am not here. So he was on a little sabbatical, taking care of his estate. So I will, he's down in Texas. He's got a lot of rain down there these days. So I don't blame him. All right, this is not. This is just for Monday. Pivot on Monday was 36.14. The resistance at 22.30, 37, 45, 55. Support at 05, 35, 90, 80, 70, and 63. Do you go over a jump in a can you go over when to jump in on a trade? How to time it to right? Well, it just kind of happened down there, Alejandro. We had support there at 70. You have to have your order basically in the market, on your ladder ticket around the 70 area. Now, there's different ways of getting in. If you had it at 70, there's maybe a chance you might have not got filled, right? But we like to kind of scale into our position. So my orders were 70 and a half, 70, and 69 and a half. I kind of scale around my area. And so my orders were already in there. So when the market rotated down here right now, I was able to get long right at that level. And the reason I'm getting long is because I gave you that support level, and that's where I would think that there's support. Support means, kind of support. All right. So that's how I place the order around the level. Again, that's if you're just using the levels straight up, and there's other ways of entering trades in regards to price action opportunities. Again, that's a little bit different. So Steve P, so did you go along at 70 and a half, right? Flat at 73, okay. Not bad. And me something. I don't know. The second part of that, I didn't quite get. How do you manage it? Well, I mean, again, I'm still looking for about yeah, you have to. It's a different consideration there if you get into 71, right? Obviously, if you get to 72, you got to probably take some profits, right? But I mean, I'm holding it to try to get to, depending on if I got my second half, right? And if it goes down to 71 and doesn't go down to 70, there's probably going to be a good chance it'll go above 73, right? Because it obviously bounced off of 71. Obviously, that level or around that level is support. So if I do get in around 71 and it doesn't go back down, that means probably I had a pretty good trade, right? So I'm sure I'll get to 73 without a problem. I don't know if that answers your question. How close is it to the S&P 500? The S&P 500 trades pretty close to it. As a matter of fact, when we were trading on the Florida S&P 500 pit was the equity pit that was still open, and basically they were arbitraging between the minis and the big mark and the big S&P. So they trade very close together. Sometimes it doesn't show up that way, but actually you cannot trade the S&P 500, the big S&P in the pit, the big contract without being in the pit. So you can't trade that right now. What you're looking at probably is the cash market, and cash market and the futures market trade hand in hand, but it's a little bit, maybe there's a little bit of a valuation, a premium between one or the other, and that's because of time. But if you were looking at the cash, that's probably what you were looking at when it set down to 76. So there's a little bit of a discrepancy between the cash and the futures market. Oh, okay. I'm glad. That was a good misunderstanding there, Steve. I had no idea what you were saying, but you just basically were telling me you made money on the trade, which is good. Fantastic. Yeah, so again, John, I think I answered your question. I think if we get filled at 71 and we don't go back down to 70, that probably means we're going to bounce off of it pretty easily. I'm going back over to messages, make sure I didn't miss anything here. So Alejandro, I think I hope I answered your question. Uh, okay, I think I got everybody here. We're looking for 2-point gains. No, not necessarily. It all depends on how much an individual uh, has the ability to, how many contracts he's able to trade. If you're trading one contract, in this situation, you could have bought the 70s and have a trailing stop and try to take a little bit more out of it. But if you're trading one contract, you want to be able to take some profits and look for the next thing. You can definitely uh, take more than 2 points on the trades if you're trading multiple contracts, where you can scale out of one, look for another 2 or 3 points. You can scale out of another one. In this situation, we're getting a nice bounce here off of it, and you could take it all the way up here to our pivot, which would have been a nice little trade. So no, we don't. It's not only 2 points. It all depends on how you get in, and not only how you get in, but how many contracts you trade. So everybody's got a little different. I just keep it to a simple concept, because I don't know what everybody does. I don't know how I don't want to assume everybody trade multiple contracts, because I know that doesn't happen. So but I work with individuals to maximize your profits in case you do trade multiple contracts, and it's to show you how to get into them, how to get out of them, and where your trailing stop would be if you got into a nice trade, and how to be able to maximize your trades from there. So you can definitely take more than um, that 2 points on the trades, but I just kind of keep it on a very simple level when I'm in the room here. Was I talking about the fib zones? No, I'm talking about my support level. 70 is my support level that I gave out before when we started. It could correlate to a Fibonacci area that I don't know, and if it does, it just gives you an extra confidence level to be able to put that trade on. If it does correlate with that, that's the better, right? It's even better. I know. I know some of our traders are looking at fibs and they have it running on their charts. I keep it simple. I'll give you about levels, and then we'll go from there. So again, all we try to do is give you confidence in putting on trades, because I think that's the one part of traders that they're afraid to enter, afraid to put on a trade. And what we try to do is to give you confidence in the ability to find the areas, and then give you multiple reasons to trade a level or an opportunity, whether it be a level or a price action play. Okay, Don, for Tuesday, that was Monday. Tuesday, I'm seeing where this is going now. Tuesday, Don, you there? Can you hear me? I don't want to just say it sorry, I didn't get back to you quicker. Okay, so Don, 30, I take it you want Wednesday too, right? Because you were here yesterday. Yeah, you were here yesterday. Okay, so I'll give you, this is Tuesday, 3,600 pivot, 08 above, 16, 23, 30, 37, below 90, 80, 70, 63, and 53. That was for Tuesday. And I just wanted to tell you, Tuesday was very slow. Wednesday I got a little bit better in the afternoon. The pivot there on Wednesday was 36.10. Support 03, 96, 86, 79. Resistance at 17, 24, 30, and 37. All right. That should catch you up there. Mark, can you put up the levels for today in the chat? There we go. Thank you. And these are the levels for today. In case you're just come in, if you're looking at the chat box area, The levels for today are on board right there. You can see we had the 70, which we had a nice little bounce off of. Monday was killer days. I don't know. Monday was okay, but Tuesday was just Tuesday and Wednesday were just painfully slow. Yesterday we had a little bit. I mean, Wednesday was okay. Uh, Yesterday was okay. Wednesday we had to wait a while. Tuesday was just Tuesday. You could have stayed in bed. But hey, like I told everybody yesterday, we just don't know how every day is going to turn out day to day. So we come in here prepared, ready to trade, and whatever happens, happens. All right. So we had a nice bounce there off of 70. Now we're just coming back in here and hanging around our pivot. So kind of back to neutral. Now, if we go back down to 70, we're not trading the level anymore. Obviously, it's good the first time, but not going back there. So let me give you some business-related headlines. Getting a lot of attention overnight was the decision by the Treasury Secretary Mnuchin to not renew some emergency fund programs that tapped funds from the CARE Act. Those include ones that support the market for corporate bonds and municipal debts, as well as Main Street lending program to small and medium-sized businesses, which have been lightly used. Companies don't need more loans and instead require more grant money, which requires action from Congress. Mnuchin declared, adding that the programs have clearly achieved their objectives, while 4 other programs will be kept in place for an additional 90 days. The Fed response that it would prefer that the full suite of emergency facilities established during the coronavirus pandemic continue to serve their important role as a backstop for our still strained and vulnerable economy. That they need to be extended. This is getting a lot of debate, but I'm not going to make the case that whether we extend them or not may not be the material to the financial markets, said Fed President, St. Louis Fed President Bullard. We can always start up the liquidity program again in the future, which means another quantitative easing situation. Well, if you did trade our pivot, nice rotation off of it. So yeah, they're taking $400 billion out of that that was sitting there, not being used. And that obviously is not a good thing to the market. And we did break last night on that news. So came back pretty good though. So we'll see. Coronavirus cases continue to surge. Not much movement was seen from futures overnight, with contracts tied to S&P and the Dow slightly dipping and the Nasdaq inching up. Things have been choppy in recent days amid soaring coronavirus infections, and what that means for the economy. While the developments in the effective vaccine strokes hope of the post-pandemic world, many states have already rolled back reopening plans, implementing new restrictions to curb the spike of the COVID-19, as the U.S. logged its highest number of daily reported infections at 190,000 plus, as well as a recorded amount of hospitalization and also deaths. Very sad situation. On Thursday, Governor of California issued a limited stay-at-home order on the majority of the state's residents. We have that in Illinois already too. So we'll see what happens. It's not a good situation. Last night, McConnell's folks agreed to sit down with staffs. The staffs are going to sit down today and tomorrow to try to begin to see if we can get a real good COVID relief bill, Senator Chuck Schumer said during a press conference on Thursday. And now we continue to downtick. Our next support level here is the 64 area. And again, during the day, people might say something, create some volatility, some movement when it's kind of quiet. Uh, you always have to be, we don't know when those things are going to happen. Consequently, if you're going to be trading, if you find an area that you think, you like, uh, whether it be your own work or some of the work that we do, you have to have orders around those areas or an order there so that you can take advantage of ebbs and flows. Now, I'm not saying that you have to take every opportunity. That's not what I'm saying. You have to take the ones that you can recognize, you can visualize, and then you have a reason for putting on the trade. And then if you do, then you can take advantage of that situation. I straightforwardly are giving you some levels that we use, but there's other opportunities in the market that do occur as the trade goes on, which I don't mention. But if you're going to put those trades on, you definitely have to make sure you have them in there before the market gets there. Otherwise, you're probably going to miss the opportunity. And again, you're only having those orders in there because there are multiple reasons for you to have an order in there, not just because you feel that it's going to stop or rotate from a certain. You need to have reasons. So anyway, so McConnell and Schumer are going to get together. Um, that's what Schumer said. Sound familiar? Congress has been at the table for months, but both sides want to claim a victory in the negotiations, with politics still at the center of the deadlock. Many point to the Senate's runoff in Georgia on January 5th as the earliest date that we could see some action, meaning the next coronavirus aid package is at least a month away. At least a month away, and lack of stimulus or surging cases haven't so far derailed the recent rally, given the cross currents of vaccine optimism and the holiday spending. So that's the issue there, is that we'll see what happens. That's what the market and the guy is telling us. That's we're gonna see what happens. All right, we continue to kind of slowly downtick. Got support down at the 64 area. Um, do you trust information about the new vaccines coming out? Seems to me companies are rushing the products to the market, um, concerned with that they might not get fully right by rushing it. Uh, uh, yeah, I think Fauci yesterday was at his press conference was asked kind of the same question, and he was very adamant about the safety of the vaccines that are coming out. He said that the technology these days uh, is much more advanced than it was years ago, and instead of the process taking a year or two to come up with a vaccine, because of the advancements in technology, they've been able to um, uh, speed up that process a little bit. And um, I mean, they're going to look at. I mean, he's looked at the data. I think. I mean, he wouldn't be talking like that if he hasn't looked at the data. But he thinks that the products that are coming out would be very safe, and that we shouldn't be afraid to use them. So. But he's saying that there's going to be there's a big lag time between, let's say they approve this or they ask for approval like next week, or most people are not going to get it. They roll it out. They're going to give it to the frontline workers first, which definitely should get it, and elderly, and then the implementation for everybody else is going to take a little bit of time. I mean, first of all, you don't have enough doses. I think they were talking, you know, you have 300 people, 300 million, 350 million, I don't know, whatever it is, a number of people, 330 million people in the United States alone, let alone worldwide. And they can only make, you know, I think they only have 25 million doses available. So, so yeah, I mean, it's going to take a bit of time. So by the time it trickles down that most people can take it, you'll have some good evidence whether it's working or not, I think, to feel confident, because we're not going to be able to. I mean, uh, and there's thank God there's other companies too that are manufacturing this stuff, and hopefully maybe by the spring, you know, that you have some idea if somebody's going to be able to jump in and get it or not. Yeah, I know there. I did notice that we just missed it by a tick. I know if we got down to 65, 75 there. Missed it by a couple ticks there on the upper end of the range if you were trying to look. That's why somebody asked me about entering a point above. You would have, like I said, if you're going to get into a point above and we don't get to that level, we're probably going to be okay. So yeah, unfortunately, I was trying to ignore it, hoping that it would happen. So obviously right now, the level is a little bit more tenuous, maybe adjust to the lower end of the range there. We did bounce off the blue band in our hourly there, Mark, if you are wondering how that works. Yeah, we just missed it by just that much. It's all right, happens. Again, you are allowed to make adjustments to the level, right? Because we just missed it. Doesn't mean that you have to leave it there. Maybe you make an adjustment to the lower end. Maybe if you're scaling point above and below, you leave the lower end down, or half a point above and below, you leave the lower end. All depends on how much risk you want to take. And some of our traders would cancel the order completely because it's a little bit too risky. That works too, right? Yeah, there you go, Chad. There's a article. It said an interesting topic that explains a huge bump in a lot of the innovations available now rather than 10 years ago. It's a documentary concerning vaccines. So yes, that was definitely pointed out. If you were listening to, or if you listen, I got a glimpse of what Fauci was saying yesterday, and that the efficacy of the vaccine is a lot better, and he has a lot of confidence in it because of the advancement in technology over the past few years. I mean, so, and besides that, at this point in time, I think everybody just wants to get out of the house, right? I mean, you know, if you're going to bitch about wearing a mask, and you're going to bitch about the government putting constraints on you because of this situation, I mean, I don't understand. Look, nobody wants to stay home, or nobody wants to wear a mask all the time or whatever, but I don't understand the issue here with some people. It's not like they were taking the rights away from anybody. It's look, nobody complains when you go on an airplane and they tell you not to smoke. Why is that? What's that any different than wearing a mask around because you're trying to? I don't know. But and besides that, we're just waiting for something to happen, and a number of people that are unfortunately going in the hospital and dying, and I don't know, just gotta get this thing over with already, because it's not fun. it's getting to the point where it's scary now. Like, my kids are baking and backing out of Thanksgiving now, which is really, I don't blame them. Um, but some of them, a couple of them are still coming. Maybe still a week away, so they might change their mind. But yeah, man, this is happening. It's out there. Anyway, let's hope that they can come up with this. And again, even if they approve it next week and they start passing them out, it's going to be 3 or 4 months before anybody else can get it. All right, I like that concept, that idea. Not the worst idea. It worked out for you anyway. Uh, Mark, yeah, I mean he's not. I mean, there's limitations to that, right? So let's not get carried away with his. There's certain things that you can do with those powers, and certain things you cannot do. So we'll see what happens. He's just being a big baby. But then again, if you look at the numbers, the number of people that believe him is scary too. So, hmm, I tell you, it's beyond sore loser. It really is beyond that. Let's not go there right now. It's Friday. Well, unfortunately, the people around him are protecting him, so that's not going to happen. I mean, I don't know. Some Republicans are finally opening up and saying, but the Republicans are bailing him out. So what can I say? No, you're right there, Chad. It's not good to talk politics. This is a very divisive situation in the United States here. So it's not a good situation. Yeah, sure, Maureen. Should not be a problem. With Thanksgiving next week, we're probably not going to be here Thursday, Friday. So maybe we'll try to shoot for Tuesday, if that's okay. Tuesday or Wednesday, one of those days. We'll talk about it on Monday. How's that? Yeah, if you're gonna Tuesday's great. We'll check in Monday for sure. Okay. Yeah, Steve. It is something that has to be talked about, but by the same token, though, you got to talk about it with an open mind. If people don't have an open mind about it, um, then it's not. There's no use to talk to anybody about it. You know. So, uh, there's really no reason to talk about it if people don't think rationally and talk rationally with you about it. Yeah, I mean, so we'll see. It is, but it's not. I don't think it's going to change for a while. That's the other part. All right, the vaccine. Pfizer intends to file for an application to the FDA for emergency use of its coronavirus vaccine today, according to the HHS Secretary Alex Azar, with Moderna soon to follow. Earlier this week, Azar said that there will be roughly 40 million doses of the vaccine available by the end of the year. Oh, between the two companies. Wow. Enough to inoculate about 20 million people because they need two doses. Both vaccines have shown about a 95% efficacy rate in late stage trials and are seen by investors as and policymakers as a solution to get the economy going again. Meanwhile, the WHO recommended against the use of Gilead's remdesivir to treat the hospitalization of COVID-19 patients, saying that there was no evidence that shows them improves survival rate or the need for ventilation. That's interesting. Thought that was like at least a interim drug until that got everything else got okay, but maybe not. Who knows? All right. So again, be careful of the 64 down on the downside there. It looks like it's a little bit contaminated because we got down to 65 and change. Maybe if you're going to take it, adjust a little bit. And if you're not going to take it because it's a little bit too risky for you, I get it. No problem. So we'll see. 20 million doses by the end of the year. Yeah, that's not a lot. To start, still definitely not a lot, though. That means we're not going to get it. you know, yeah. And yeah, this thing's they got to come out faster. And it's not only the United States; the whole world needs it. I mean, we're just talking. I'm just talking here in the United States, but you know, uh, the UK and the EU, and they all need it. They're all in the same situation. Their numbers are spiking, and everybody said that this was going to happen, and it is happening. As we drift down here to the 64 area. So they have nothing for people who are already sick. That is true. And I think most of the time that I've heard this, they just can do what they can do, but there's nothing that you can give them to make them feel better. All right, we got down to the 64 area there. If you kept it in, you're getting paid off. If you didn't, that's fine too. There's no reason to get upset that you didn't leave it in at the top end. So, uh, it's fine. I just trade with. I just wait for the next level on the downside we have is 55. So yeah, the only thing I've heard about patients get sick is that they do what they do for, and they've been finding. I mean, from the first time till now, they've found ways to treat them, and the people are some of the people who are getting sicker are getting treated better, and at least they know what works a little bit better than what they did at the beginning of this mess. So that's a good thing. Yeah. So I guess it's not the end of the world, but still, there's no like remedy for it. They're doing steroids, antibiotics, oxygen is if you have trouble breathing, and a little morphine so that they don't panic. Yeah, all that does not sound good. I hope your mom's okay too, by the way. Did you need to get short if you were? Well, I mean that is a concept that that is there, that old support becomes resistance, right? And if that's one of the things that, again, everybody's different, like I said, if that's one thing that you like to use, there's nothing wrong with that. And if that's one setup that some of our traders like to touch upon, that's fine. I have no problem with you saying that. The net works. I mean, somebody's already done that to me today, to us today, and told me about it. So, yeah, so that is a possibility. Again, that's another trade. That's another option. Uh, this is for everybody. It's not for everybody, but if it's something that you like to use, then you should. So, but it's a good catch there. All right, again, if you did left it in, if you didn't, now we'll look for the 55, next level of support on the downside. All right. So again, you are given multiple. You have to make adjustments to the trades given the price action. We talked about that earlier. And if you got in a little better entry point, then maybe you're working the 62 area here, 63 area. If not, if you cancel it, that's fine. If it's giving you a chance to do whatever you want to do around this area. It's not really doing anything right now, but so again, different ways of trading. There's not one correct way. You have to find a way that makes sense to you more than anything else. Uh, CDC warns against Thanksgiving travel. Postponing travel and staying at home is the best way to protect yourself and others this year, said the CDC in a new advisory for Americans who do choose to travel. The CDC advises doing so as safely as possible by following same-day recommendations like wearing a mask in public, social distancing, washing hands frequently. The reason that we made the update is that the fact that over the week we have seen over 1 million new cases in the country, said Dr. Whoever at CDC's lead in the Community Intervention and Critical Population Task Force. That's a mouthful. Do you mean the overnight high and low? Or are you talking about the daily high and low? Which one? There's two of them. Yeah, I would use the previous days highs and lows as an opportunity. But you got to be careful because there's a difference between the overnight highs and lows and the daily highs and lows. Because that could be a little bit different. We've come here and we're just kind of hanging. uh, just trying to figure out, are we going to stay here or are we going to pop back up? So a little uncertainty, and also giving you a chance to decide whether you want to stay long if you got in at 63 or get out. It's, I mean, we had a 3 tick 5 minute bar or whatever it is down there. It's terrible. But that's what we're fighting here, trying to figure out which way we're going to go. All right, Don, let's hope so. What levels are supposed to tell us on directions? What does that mean? Well, we're going to be long at the support levels, right? So if you're long around here because we have 64. So that's where we're going to be long. And where you target, where we're targeting minimum 2 to 3 points initially today, at least, and we're getting them right now. It's 2 to 3 points under trades, and also with the same amount of stops. So that's what we're trying to do, at least initially. And if you get into a nice area and you have multiple contracts, then you can take a little bit more than 2 or 3 points on the trade. So we got long down there to 64 if you did, if you even got in at 63, if you made an adjustment, if your stop was down at 61, and kind of just let it breathe down there for a little bit as it was fighting. The Bulls and the Bears were kind of fighting it out there, trying to figure out which way it wanted to go. And the Bulls at least won this battle. Yeah, I missed it. Wasn't looking at the, but they throw in 1,000 lot every now and then to tell everybody, hey, we're still here. Our 1,000 lot traders are still here. All right, nice rotation there off of the 60. Again, we could have gotten in a little bit better. We talked about getting a little bit better because of the way the market traded at around the 64 level earlier. If you did get in, you had to stop there at 61-ish, even at 60. You didn't get stopped, and you had a nice little rotation here off of that level. So we're trying to just take advantage of ebbs and flows of the market off of our levels that we gave out earlier this morning. We can make adjustments according to the price action, and keeps you in the game a little bit more, and that way. And then we had a nice little push up here. So I just kind of gave you the answer there. I mean, if you got in at 63, your your exit strategy would be around 60 or 61, depending on how much risk you're taking and what your goals are. And then you can have a nice little rotation up here with a trailing stop. So that's hopefully I mean, I said 2 or 3 points, so I've been saying that all morning. So your stop would be 2 or 3 points. All right there, Steve. Have a good weekend. I'm glad that you did well. Yeah, you stay safe also. Nothing like trading in the morning and being happy and doing whatever you have to do the rest of the day. The initial target, yes, this is 1-to-1. But again, depending on how many contracts you're trading, you could definitely do. You take profits off of some, and then the remainder you can have a trailing stop and take much more than that. So uh, that's how you can get better than a 1-to-1 basis. Minimally, you have to have a 1-to-1 basis to trade, I think, to keep yourself in the game. And as long as you have more winners than losers, then you're going to be okay at the end. And we do that anyway, but that's not the point. The point is that we're trying to, again, it all depends. The talk that I have here is for a person who trades one lots and does the minimum. But there's obviously more to what you could do here with the levels. Like, and this is a perfect case that if you bought multiple contracts there around the 63 or 64 area and put a 60 stop, you get some out at 66 and get some out at 68 and get some out at 70, and you're able to take, my point is that you're able to take more than just 2 points on a trade. and the rest of it, but your stop still stays at the 61 area. Sure, we could do that. Um, are you in the United States? Okay, why don't you jot down your telephone number and I can give you a call a little bit later. It all depends on the volatility. When the markets are a little bit crazy, uh, one way of doing it is by 2 or 3 points. I mean, it it all depends on volatility. I think you can get away with the 2 point trailing stop when it's kind of slow, like today. So other times you need to. There's other ways of doing it as well. You can also look at uh, the price action and use the stops that the market gives us. That's another concept. But yeah, there's different ways of doing it. But 2 points, usually 2 to 3 points. If again, it's all dependent on the individual. All right, next level on the downside is really nothing down till about the 55 area. So nice little rotation there off of 63. Um, a good resistance would be around the 72, and anything above 75, you want to be out of any um, shorts. All right, we can see we're getting a little bit choppy here. So this is the kind of no trade zone that we talk about. Kind of tough to get too excited about anything in this little area here, so be patient. That's a good description there, Don. Don describes the trade right now as like riding on a bouncing ball. That's pretty funny. That's if you're on the ball. You don't have to be on the ball, but you could be. If you're on the ball, you're bouncing around, that's for sure. Only a person from Texas will give me a description like that I can laugh at. That's pretty funny. Yeah, Helmut, that would be about right. Or you could just take one, one, and one, and take one and then leave a runner. The two of them are runners, and then take one off, and then leave one as a runner. So it all depends on what you're comfortable doing, and everybody's different. I mean, your first scenario that you gave is doable. There's nothing wrong with that scenario. You lock in your profit, even if you have to take a loss on the last one. You're not going to lose on the trade, right? If you trade three contracts and you take 2 points off of two and leave one runner, and you have a 2 point stop or a trailing stop, you're not going to lose any money on the trade. So that's definitely a doable scenario, and one that yeah, you could definitely work with. But all in all, it's whatever you feel comfortable doing, and how it works out for you, and that is definitely one scenario that you could use. And again, look, we're going to get the days when we find a level perfect and it works very nicely, and the 63 here, and even the other one worked very nicely earlier on. So wow, thank you. As close as the nicest compliment, even though they're not from me. That's the nicest compliment I've gotten all day. That's the whole point. No, he did not give me a compliment about my nice hair. No, he actually hasn't seen me. Actually, I'm lucky I have hair. I'm not going to tell you why he gave me a compliment just because you were not very nice there and talking about my hair. So I'm not going to even tell you what nice thing he said about me. So there. All right, we've come up here to our blue band here. A little bit of resistance right in this area. Again, we said anything above 74 out of any short. So if you got a short there against it, you got a nice little play. This is a price action opportunity that we like to use. So maybe some of you took advantage of it. And Mark, instead of making fun of me, I hope you were trading. Let's see. I just hear your general conversation with no supporting technical discussion. Is that a question or is that a comment? Just curious to hear your strategy and how you decide to enter and exit your trades. I really think I've been like talking about support levels being reasons why we get into our trades. Well, somebody was asking me about how we get out of our trades. That's another conversation that I was answering that conversation. Um, the price action opportunities are there for us for various price action opportunities. I mean, some of the strategies that we have is a taught experience, obviously, and so I teach them the price action opportunities and why they would work. In our course, I talk about why the levels would work. In our course, I'm also teaching you how to find those levels, um, and why they would work. Well, yeah, I know you want to know why they work, right? I do. Was it based on technical analysis? I guess that would be the easiest answer for you without giving you too much information about how we do things. I mean, obviously, we have a lot of clients who the goal of the course is for you to be able to find these support level or resistance levels on your own. Yeah, I know. Go, you're right. That everything's free on the web. I agree. You could go out there and get it. I'm not trying to tell you that. We're certain group of people here are trading futures, and uh, we love to do what we're doing, and we put a lot of work and effort into how we do things here. And I think if you talk to some of our uh, people who've done what we do and taught them, get some. If you want to ask them questions, you could. Yes, we incorporate all of those, except that not MACDs. I don't like MACDs. They don't. They're laggers. I don't usually like to use MACDs. That's what I don't use. Well, what you expect from the course. So the course is going to give you the details of how we do things, what to look for, what opportunities are there, why the things would work, why I think the things would work. And you could take on some of the same concepts, from the technical analysis, some of the used in the same concepts, and then take them and use them with other markets as well. We stick to the S&Ps because I believe that it's good to focus in on one market and to understand what affects it, what fundamental news affects it, what all the outside influences that establishes price, what affects it, and instead of trying to focus in on like the grain market or cryptocurrency or something like that. I have no idea what affects those markets. I focus more on what I know and focusing on that. If you can take the same ideas and concepts that we teach and use them in other markets as well, they probably do work there as well. I know that they do work in the oil, because my friend uses them, and so he kind of takes those concepts there too and uses them as well in those areas, and then that in that market. But yeah, so then we also talk about not only the technical analysis, but then we talk about some psychology, how you enter your trades, how you get out of them, what to look for, how to cancel them when you have to. There's reasons. We tried to layer multiple reasons into putting on a trade so that you get more confidence in your ability to enter a trade. And so recognition of the trade is one aspect that's important, finding it on the charts or finding it or having a reason why they're there. And then the next part of it would be the execution part of it. And I found out that most people have trouble. You can recognize the trade, but then the execution part of it becomes a little bit of a problematic for them because they're too nervous or too scared. So I try to take those fears away from it by giving you multiple reasons to trade the market. Well, I mean, you basically included every technical analysis opportunity that's out there, right? I mean, if I include all of those things, I don't think anybody would have any other insight besides the experience that a long-term trader has had. So maybe I'm giving you that too, right? Besides all that stuff that you're talking about there. I mean, you basically threw in every logical technical analysis concept that's out there in that one sentence. And yeah, I use all of those. And what else? I don't know. That's You get to talk to me. You get to find out what I am thinking and why you'd want to get into a trade, why you wouldn't want to get into a trade. Maybe the stuff that I look at is a little bit different. Maybe I'm trying to show you different things than maybe other people, maybe than what you know. Um, we've had experienced traders who've joined us who takes the stuff that we teach and add it onto their analysis. I'm not trying to tell you not to trade the things that you trade or use the concepts that you use. I'm just trying to add to your portfolio of different ways of looking at markets and how you should trade them. So we've had experienced traders have come in here who used our tools and expand it and put them in their toolbox of their trades. I'm not trying to change you as a trader. I'm just trying to give you more opportunities to find trades during the course of a day. Sometimes it's a little bit easier when the markets are moving around. Sometimes it's a little bit more quiet, like right now. So, you know, it's we keep it pretty simple around here. We try not to complicate things too much. We find our exit and entrance and entry possibilities pretty straightforward. I don't use too many charts. I don't use too many tools. I just think you should focus in on finding the opportunity and then working the opportunity once you get into it, and then how to maximize profits when you get out of them. No problem. All right, we can see we've gotten into this like no trade zone over here. Our rotation there off of the 71 area, like I suggested, anything above 74 out of any short. So maybe you were able to find a reason to get in around the 71 area there, and a nice little rotation off of it. And so in addition to the levels that we've given out, there are some price action opportunities that are in there. And that was just one of them. And you had multiple reasons to get into that trade besides the blue band there. There were other logical reasons to enter into that little area. And again, anything that I say is not made up. I kind of teach what we talk about here. And if anybody is interested in what we're doing, and you want to talk to somebody who's taken the course already, I think we can manage that too. So it's always good to talk to people in case this stuff interests you and you want to take it to another level. See, that's a good question. And again, it's a question that people like to know what my rate of being correct is, right? I can only tell you, and only because I'm not trying to avoid the question, people do change their entry points and cancel a trade, and doesn't mean that everybody does. It doesn't mean that I did. I can suggest something to you because I know there's more risk averse people who are trading, and they like to, once the situation hit a certain level and we didn't get filled, they're canceled the trade. Now the example here was the 64 area. We got down to it. I suggested some of you might want to cancel it, otherwise others might want to keep it on. So how do you do you count it or you don't count it is the question. It's tough. It's a tough way to, that's why I don't like to give that kind of answer, out of respect to those people who've canceled their trades, right? Now, I kept it, doesn't mean that everybody else kept it. And so I made some money on it, but doesn't mean that somebody else, didn't cancel it, and that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with canceling the trade at that point because of the fact that so it's a tough question for me to answer. And also, there's price action opportunities that are in there that I don't always mention. But if you're talking about the levels straight up and down, the levels straight up and down would probably, and this is not from me talking, this is from somebody who's part of our course who's done some analysis on them. They go about 65% of the time, just on the levels, not the price action opportunities. I am placing the orders, and yes, am I placing the orders in there that I'm shouting out? Yes. Sometimes I shout it out before it happens, and sometimes I don't, like the 71 here. I didn't do it for everybody because it's not fair for everybody. But yes, most of the time I will tell you. I don't hold anything back here. If anybody's been with me for a while, they kind of know. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've said it many a time that you don't have no idea that I'm in a trade sometimes when I'm talking. Obviously, when we were down at 64, I had to trade on. When we were down at the first level at 70, I had to trade on. I was talking right through it. I don't think you knew that I had it on. When I'm having a bad day, you might know that I have something on because I might say something, but most of the time you really don't know that I have a trade on. I mean, I did sell the 71s and talked right through that. But doesn't mean that I have to, it's only because I've been doing it a while, I guess. I have nothing on now. This is like the no trade zone right in here. Again, I welcome other questions. Nothing wrong with asking any questions. Feel free to ask. As you can see, I have time to talk about them because we're not really doing much. What's going on this weekend? Not much, actually. Just kind of got no. I mean, what plans do you want me to have? I mean, we have to stay home for heaven's sakes. Our governor is telling us to stay away from people. So what exactly? I can't even go out to eat. I haven't gone out to eat in a restaurant since March. So nada. Ice skating? No, no, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Ice skating. Mark from Los Angeles trying to figure out what ice skating is. Oh, are we getting snow? Well, they say rain tonight and maybe overnight into tomorrow morning. It might get cold enough for the rain to turn into a little bit of snow, but we've been very lucky this year. Not so far. I mean, we had yesterday was 65 degrees. Today it's 60 degrees, but then tonight and tomorrow morning it's going to be cold enough to snow. So there you have it. Do I have a journal of your trades? And if so, what do you keep track of? I don't have a journal of my trades. Listen, uh, if I had to stop talking every time I put on a trade, I would never be talking here in this. Usually, I got something going on most of the time. Not most of the time. Not like right now. I don't. But when it's kind of moving to an area, I do. I I I I don't have a journal of the trades that I make because it's not what we do here. Again, we have a methodology. It's out there. You could talk to some of our traders if taking the course if you're interested. See how it works. I try not to keep a journal because it's just like I said. Some of our traders cancel their trades. We talk about adjusting. Some of you adjust, some of you don't. some of you cancel a trade because you're less risk averse. There's all kinds. I try to keep it very simple and straightforward with the calling out the trades, but there's plenty of other opportunities during the trade that during the day that we can trade. But I don't talk about all of them. But I show you all of them. But again, it's each individual's risk tolerance and how much they want to trade in the course of a day. I mean, obviously, we need to move around. When you can see here over the last 30 minutes, we've gotten to a 4-point range, and basically, there's not much to do now. But if the markets are moving around, there's plenty more opportunities to trade. Um, you need the volatility, obviously. But yeah, I don't keep. I just we talk about having multiple reasons to trade all the time, right? And I talk to our client, anybody who's taken our course, we try to give you multiple reasons to trade, what you're looking for, and orderly, understandable. Okay, I see the trade, I'm going to put it on. Boom. I can see a lot of trades in the course of half an hour, if we're moving around, which I don't. And they're out there. I mean, if everybody's taking our course, they can see the trades. The question is, do I take them all, or does somebody take all those opportunities? Not necessarily. Do I always take 2 points out of the trades that I put on? If I put on a whole bunch of them or a lot quickly, probably not. Maybe I'm taking a little less because my cost of doing business is a little less than probably most people out there, because I'm a member of the exchange, and the exchange gives members a little discount on the fees, so I can maybe trade a little bit more. But I try also to consider keeping your cost of doing business down. If you overtrade, then whatever money you make gets swallowed up with commissions. So I try not to do that. I try to keep it to 4 or 5 trades that are totally straightforward, understandable, where you can minimize the cost of doing business and maximize your profit. Hope that answers your question. I'm pretty straightforward with the questions that you ask me here. So as far as my answers are concerned. All right, I think we get above 74, we maybe rally a little bit. There. Why do you think? Why do you think? No, that's the resistance. You gotta go a little bit above it. Why? Yeah, that's a question. I'm testing you. Why? I give you 10 more seconds. If you don't come up with something like I don't know. Well, where do you think the stops would be? They're not going to be at 72. They would be at above that. So you have to figure out where the stops are going to be. Yeah, John, no, I appreciate it. Uh, Over the years, I've just put on too many trades for myself to keep a journal. I mean, I would get lost if I tried to do that. I've been doing this for too long a time for me to try to figure out why I'm doing something all the time. You got to give it a little bit more breathing room. So that's why I said 74. Nah. Welcome back, Don. I missed you because you just give me your little one-liners every now and then, and I haven't gotten them for a week now. I was getting worried about you, but I'm glad you made it back yesterday. If you didn't come back this week, I was gonna give you a call, but I figured you got lost on your estate someplace. All right, again, we're just in a little tight little range, not going anywhere. Above 74, a little bit of a buy. And we'll see what happens. But they have pulled the plug here a little bit. All right, we're just kind of coming back up here. Looks like it wants to stay a little bit bullish as long as we stay above the 67 area. And but things have definitely quieted down here a little bit and getting a little bit choppy. Not surprising. It's pretty amazing considering how slow it's been.
Hey, a couple quick programming notes. We start here at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on a daily basis. Right now it's 11:20 a.m. on November 20th, 2020. Everything we do is for educational purposes only. Nothing is to be taken as direct trading advice. If you want to learn Sol's price action methodology, let us know, and we can set up a time to talk about Sol's course and mentoring work. For those that are coming in for Sol's monthly, welcome. Thanks for being part of it. For those that are coming in as guests, quick shout out to Gary A. Hey Gary, did you get the link I sent out to you for signing up for Sol's Monthly? Just let me know back in chat. Georgina the same. James F the same. John H the same. Hey Maureen, did you get the email that I sent out or we sent out? Just let me know back in chat. I think you had mentioned that you were in Florida. Good for you if you're there. Just use the chat feature to respond. Hey Frank, I think I missed you before. Oh, great. It's so funny. We get all these calls on our home line. Hey, Maureen, that's great. I wish I was down there. Florida'd be nice right about now. So we get these calls on our home phone, and they're from India, but you wouldn't know that by the name or the place the telephone call is coming from. And then I asked them nicely, how did you get this number and why, why, and he said, oh, the computer does it. I thought that was interesting. But anyway, so Georgina, do you have any questions? Gary A, any questions about Sol Services? Frank? Other Frank? Um, no, it's continuous. So if you get it, you get to keep it. And you can cancel it because it's between you and PayPal. So that's a valid question. Usually it's $379 and it's on for 100. If you get the 100, you get to keep it. It just rolls over. It's between you and PayPal. In other words, it's your login and everything with PayPal, so you control it, so you can cancel at any time. Yeah, Maureen, it's just auto-generated from PayPal. For the monthly thing that we're doing. John H, let me know if you're back. John H. And Georgina, what I'll do is I'll authorize you in the background once I see it go through. And James F, let me know if you're back. John H. And Gary A. For those that are joining us on the outside, welcome. Click on the link and come right into Zoom. When you register, you get an email to come in on a daily basis. And if you like what we're doing, connect to your friends. Let us know. Or let them know. And send the link along. I appreciate it. So this is price action trading with Sol. We're here daily, trading days. There's a couple facets of this opportunity. One is the monthly, and one is and hopefully you get the discount. And the other is the opportunity to sign up and be part of Sol's course and mentoring work. Thank you.